Perfect. Hi, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Azaverse Club Entrepreneur Showcase event. I'm so glad that we have a guest here who is distinguished. I'm going to introduce him now. His name is Trenton Samuel, and Trenton's joining us on this podcast today. He is a local Las Vegas entrepreneur who's doing some really exciting things, and I'm so glad to have him here. And I'm going to let Trenton open by introducing himself first.
Yeah, happy to be here. Thank you so much, Jason, for inviting me, and super excited about tonight. Um, I'm Trenton Samuel, born and raised Los Angeles, California. Moved to Vegas in 2015, 2016. So I've kind of seen Vegas grow the last 10 years and been a part of that. It's been a lot of fun. The tech scene and Tech Alley and things of that nature, how we met at Tech Alley. So yeah, it's been great. And yeah, I moved out here after I finished school. I went to Cal State University, Dominguez Hills, studied there. That's pretty much where I built my career up from the ground up. And after that, after graduation, pretty much decided I wanted to live somewhere new.
So that's great. I mean, you've opened up with the question I was going to ask you, but what brought you to Las Vegas, of all places, from
Well,
California?
that's a good question. Well, California was close to Vegas, and I wanted to be close to California, but I figured that Vegas was a good place. I don't know. I just had a good feeling, like outside of what everyone says, like state taxes and all that. I just felt like I like the people out here. It's pretty chill versus like California. It's upbeat. People really always kind of have like, it's like not a genuine connection. It got to that point, so I just decided like I want to try something
I
new.
know what you mean, man. I know what you mean.
Yeah,
Great. So when you came to Las Vegas in 2015,
like the end of 2015,
end of 2015, and that was
Yeah.
right out of college?
right after college. Yeah.
Right. So you came here, and what did you do when you arrived here?
Well, the first year I didn't do anything. I
You
was in my
partied.
basically, yeah, partied. Lived. I was living with my mom, so I just was in my
Oh, your
room every
mom
day.
moved out here too?
Yeah, my mom, she moved out here first,
Yeah.
and then that's what kind of opened me up to moving somewhere new, just better opportunities and stuff like that, just to uh, try a new place. But yeah, man, like when I first got out here, I didn't really know what to do because it was such a weird feeling being somewhere like I never thought I would be.
Right.
I was used to just being in California. I grew up there my whole life, so I didn't adjust probably until about like 2 years later.
Wow, cool.
Yeah.
So in that time, what did you do? I mean, how did moving here with your mom in Las Vegas, trying to think of what to do, how did you then move into starting your own business?
Well, because when I was still in LA, that was kind of like me starting the business, but I was transitioning towards the
What
end.
was that business?
I was basically helping small business manage their social media. That's where I pretty much started social media investors, and I started coming up with the concept that small businesses would need a social media manager. And since social media was new at the time, it was still kind of really new. I'd never seen anything like social media before, so I fell in love with social media in college, and that's when I started seeing like that it could be used for business. And so I did like a test run. I started my business in California, and it only lasted for 3 months.
What was that business?
Basically, I got my first client. I pitched my first client to let me manage their social media, and this was my graduation year, so I had a lot going on, but at the same time, I knew that this was my passion. So getting that first client was just like a big deal for me because I actually got paid to do
Wow.
something that I didn't know I could get paid to do.
Right,
So
right.
that just opened me up to like, well, if this one client paid me, I'm pretty sure there's probably going to be more clients that be willing to pay me. You know what I mean?
That's awesome. So you knew you could work in social media, make money in social media. What then? How did that lead you to what you're doing now here in Las Vegas?
Well, when I was in college, I started in sales first. I got involved in sales through network marketing. A buddy of mine, we played basketball on the same high school team, and he went on to college. I went to a different college. Not for me, not for basketball, but he had came to my dorms one day, told me about network marketing, pretty much, and that's what really opened me up to like I love sales. I see myself as an entrepreneur. Uh, and so while I was in school, 'cause like I said, I had a lot going on at the time. I was in school, I was working on the side, but I also had a passion, which
Yeah,
was social media.
that's awesome.
But social media wasn't paying anything at that time. That's why when I got that first client, that was such a big deal for me, where it showed me like there could be more. So I just kind of just stayed focused on that. But sales was my money making, like to survive while I was in college. Those are like taking sales jobs or like being in network marketing. So that was kind of helping me make money while I was in school. And so I just started like connecting the two. I started connecting sales with social media because that was something new to me. It was new to everybody, really. Kind of like
Yeah,
social media to my generation was just like how we communicated against amongst each other, like without the teachers or our parents or like our authorities being involved. So my friends like going into college, I never thought social media. I didn't know it could be used for business.
cool. So you moved to Vegas, and in 2015, when did you start that first business here in Vegas, and what was that?
Man, it took a while because I was afraid to start the business here. I don't know why. I just had like some limiting beliefs because I'm like, I started in California and my whole network was in California. So again, I grew up there. I went to college there, and then I spent a lot of time networking there. So when I got out here, I just kind of chilled for a year or two because in my mind, I'm like, I don't know anyone out here. So that really prevented me from having confidence and stuff like that. Um, Up until about like 2017, and there was a big event out here. Um, it had like all the big influencers, Grant Cardone, um, Kevin Harrington, and Les Brown was there, and it was a major influencers there. And so I was actually invited to that event as a guest, and I got a chance to meet like Kevin Harrington. I got a chance to
Wow.
meet, I met Grant Cardone and met just all the influencers there. So um, that just inspired me a lot to just start the business out here in Vegas. And so yeah, it's just been a journey, like a separate journey from California.
And what was that business you started in 2017?
So I actually restarted my social media management company, but this time I restarted it. I actually had I spent a lot of time like making sure I restarted it with technology that would help me manage the clients. Because when I first started, I was doing everything manually. I was doing it all by myself, just because like I was on social media anyway, so it wasn't really like a big deal to me. It's never been social media. Is just like it's not a job or a task. It's just fun. It's something I kind of grown up with. But at that time, it was hard to work with a lot of different clients doing it
Right.
manually. And so in between the time, I would travel a lot from California to Nevada.
Yeah.
Um, and I had a business partner at the time. We're not working together anymore, but like he kind of helped me build the technology to launch the automation business and help me like scale my business and start bringing on more businesses where it was more so a tool I started selling, and
Yeah.
I started selling the tool that we
What
built.
was the name of that business?
It was basically the start of Stay Mobile, Stay Social,
Okay.
SMSS.
SMS. So that's in 2017.
Yeah.
And what do you think was the biggest challenge in 2017? You're 2 years into in Las Vegas, or almost 2 years in Las Vegas. What was the biggest challenge then?
The biggest challenge then was probably just generating revenue and
Right.
driving revenue. Uh,
And this is your first job out of college, which is your own business.
well, it wasn't my first job, but it was my first business. My first job out of college was with Xerox. So I actually, right after college, I took a job with Xerox for a year from
Here in Las
2014.
Vegas,
I was in California. This
California.
is like my last years in California, like after graduating college. So I graduated college in 2014, and then I took my first job at Xerox from 2014 to 2015, and then right after I left Xerox, pretty much I moved to Vegas. Uh, so it's like I had experience working at Xerox, like in sales. I got really good at it, and the only reason I didn't start as soon as I got to Vegas was just because like I didn't know anyone. But as far as like having sales experience and all that, I was confident in that ability. It's just it took me a while to start networking out here. And then after, like I said, that event, it pretty much just took off from there. I started going to more events. I started kind of learning the Vegas ecosystem, kind of like conventions, events,
Yeah.
certain events to go to. I kind of got plugged in. So I'm just grateful for that.
So what was the challenge in starting up SMSS here?
Like I said, I think it's just driving revenue because I started my business. I've never had any like funding or, how most people,
Right.
they wait to find an investor to start their business, or they started with a loan or whatever the case may be. I started my business just on pure passion and sales and my belief in my passion, my belief in, what it is that I'm telling businesses I can help them with. And it took a while to connect at first, but once businesses saw that I really like care about this topic, and I'm also doing it for myself to drive and market myself and promote my own business. That's why I think social media is so powerful, because it kind of solved a lot of issues for me like that
Yeah.
you traditionally don't have as a business owner. You know
So
what I
would
mean?
you say the biggest challenge back then was essentially building those relationships with the local people, local businesses
Right, right.
that's going to help you launch and grow your own business? Was that the biggest challenge? Sounds like
Absolutely.
that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So moving to Vegas, starting your own business, going through the challenge of building relationships, what do you think now looking back is probably one of the most important leadership qualities you should have had or you wished you had back then
Um,
as a new entrepreneur?
some qualities, I would say, well, public speaking, like doing stuff like this, like I really didn't do, or I
Hmm.
didn't. I was never really like a speak in front of people type of person, because I'm used to talking to people on social media, so I'm on my laptop, on my
Yeah, I
computer.
see.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Zooms. I had already did like,
So you're good behind the screens, but in front of people.
yeah, like one on ones,
Yeah.
or
So is this hard for you to do this?
not now,
Yeah.
but back then it was like that was something I dreaded.
Right.
Now it's like I'll do it, and I try to get better every time. Like I spoke at Tech Alley twice last year, and
Yeah.
that really started like my public speaking. But I would do events randomly, but it wasn't like how I've been doing it lately, the last couple of years. So yeah, like speaking in front of people, public speaking more, I would say, because that's important. Like at the end of the day, and probably just better communication, like just
Yeah.
practicing
So if you
communication better.
were to give yourself a tip, to your younger self a tip, what would that be?
Man, just like don't doubt yourself. Like don't doubt yourself. Like get rid of limiting beliefs. Any type of doubt or self doubt, like just like ignore it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So you've gone through quite a bit. You lived most of your life in Los Angeles or in Southern California,
Yeah.
moved to Las Vegas, started your own business, had challenges with public speaking but overcame it, started your own business here. What would you say was one of the most toughest decisions in those early days that you had to make to enable you to come to where you are now?
Honestly, man, just having the passion. Because like when I started, I was probably generating like it was tough because I was generating. I started with zero. Like I wasn't making no money, and I was doing internships. This is when I had sales jobs, but knowing that social media, I wanted that to be my main business. Like I would go sell anything just because I love sales.
All right.
You know what I mean? So it's like I started learning sales at an early age, but then social media popped on the scene as this big thing. So I saw social media more like as a product, as a business. But for me, it was like, it was just tough making money in the beginning, because social media at that time was about like being like rich, or like, you know, if you're talking about social media, you had to already have made money, or like be this
Yep.
big influencer, or like you had to influence people with like materialism and stuff like that. And that's not really me.
Yep.
Like, I like making money to survive and live, but not to flaunt and
Yep.
toss and like, hey, I'm in front of a Lambo, or I'm in front of, I'm not going to rent out, you know, houses and Airbnbs to
Absolutely.
prove a
Absolutely.
point on social media. That's never been me.
Yeah.
So that was really tough in the beginning, because people didn't believe me. I wasn't making money. You know, I didn't even, I'm living with my mom, you know what I mean? Like, I'm struggling personally, financially. So I started to like break through that by like just working on my skill even more, working on my education even more. And then I started attracting like clients that really wanted to pay me
Yep.
once I started really finding out what they needed and just diving into the craft.
Awesome. Congratulations. So
Thank
tell
you.
us a little bit more about this new business, this SMSS. What does SMSS stand for?
So SMSS is really just, it stands for creativity, to be honest, because like that's the approach that I have now. Like, as I speak more and I do more stuff like this, it's gonna come from a place of just creativity and imagination. So when I started SMSS, that's really where it came from, just my imagination. And stay mobile, stay social. It just basically means like always networking, always, you know, interacting with people. Uh, because I feel like the behavior is what has led me just consistent. It's just my behavior. And so that was kind of like an energy concept, or like it's all about like stay mobile, stay social. Like, I
Right.
don't really have an excuse not to build my business, because I could talk to people from anywhere across the world. We don't necessarily have to meet up in person. I could just, you know, I could be at home and be in a big meeting with like 10 people.
Right. So you started SMSS in 2017.
That as a business, but
Yeah.
I'd already had that concept in my head from 2013,
Yeah.
to be honest.
And so what does SMSS do? What's the problem that SMSS is trying to solve or solves for any other entrepreneur?
Right now, the main focus is connecting behavior that most people don't really pay attention to, because what's also driven me is it is the educational aspect of it. When I was in college, I studied behavioral science, and I fell in love with behavior. Like, even in sales and marketing, I feel like it's all about behavior, you know, and that's what leads into the data. So like SMSS main goal is to track two type of behaviors. The first one is interactions, because without that behavior of interactions, it's pretty much hard for social media to get to where it's at today.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, interactions is everything. It's likes, it's comments, it's shares, it's retweets. It's anytime you push your thumb or push a button, like, that's a behavior.
Yep.
It's a human behavior, and there's been trillions of that the last, probably more than trillions over the last 20, 30 years. So I always just fantasized about that. And then most recently, I started connecting it to transactions, where, like, how do these likes, how do these comments, all of this behavior, all of these interactions, how does it lead to actual like transactions, like where you can um, get customers, you know, from social media and do it organically. And now it's driving transactions on the blockchain, which is
And so,
still like crazy. Yeah.
and so how are you tracking those transactions?
Um, Now it's all through the blockchain, which is kind of like developed over the last 3 years for me, dealing with like smart contracts and learning like just the basic functions of the blockchain, where I can drive my community or drive my social media behavior to the blockchain, which creates value not just for me but everybody involved who participates. So it's been a whole new like version of the business.
So how are you using the blockchain to drive this behavior and business?
Well, you know, the blockchain is all about transactions at the end of the day. So I'm using the blockchain really to validate the concept, or the parallel between interactions and transactions. because that's the beautiful thing about the blockchain is it tracks. It's a big ledger. It's just a ledger, and you can see like all the transactions, even if you're not involved with those transactions. You know what I mean?
So maybe let me try to get to the a bit more granular. So on SMSS,
Hmm.
how do you track those behaviors or those transactions?
So like with SMSS, when we first started the business in 2017, we had a software, and this software is what started the automation for your content scheduling, like a content calendar. And what we started noticing was like that would drive the interactions. And so I started paying closer attention to like the actual interactions. Like for example, like on Facebook, like if I make a post and our software would track the interactions organically, which Facebook wasn't even showing you that data at the time. Like on a post, you could
Mm,
like now you can see um, organic reach. You can see like
got it.
um, your interactions organically basically now, but back then you couldn't. So our software kind of like started that. I don't want to say started that, but basically for me it started that
Got
where
it.
we started looking at like likes, comments, shares, but like it wasn't just like let's just get a bunch of likes and a bunch of comments and shares. It was like we would actually pay attention to who liked, who commented, and who shared.
Got it.
You
And
know what I
so
mean?
where's the business grown to now?
So basically, the business has grown to SMSS token, which
Oh wow.
is yeah. I mean, it's
That's a token you're giving away free, right?
yeah.
To
That's the
some of the
token
attendees.
we're gonna give away to the attendees, and SMSS token has been in development the last 2.5 years,
Nice.
um, and pretty much it's evolved into a tokenized ecosystem for business owners to engage, interact, and also transact. You know, and then we're working on AI that will automate everything, you know, where the business can post, they can like, they can share, they can comment with the AI and then earn tokens through those engagements.
And where and they get these tokens on the SMSS platform?
They will get it on the SMSS
That's
platform.
awesome. So how many tokens have you released or how many tokens have you created?
So we started with just a billion, just 1 billion tokens, because back in my heyday, that was my number that I like fantasized about. Like, you know, Facebook, you're about these big companies. Everything was about 1 billion, you know. So like getting your first billion users, getting your first billion valuation. So when I started SMSS token, I'm like, we're gonna just have 1 billion. That's it. Like 1 billion tokens. There'll never be more than 1 billion tokens.
And how many have you released now?
So honestly, all of them are released. After like the first year, they all got released on the market. Because when we started the token, we didn't do like a public ICO. We didn't go after investors or any of that. We went back to the users from the app, right? Because from 2017 to 2021, we had built up a user base of like 12,000 users
On the SMSS
on the
platform.
SMSS platform for automation, social media. We already had like 12,000 users.
That is awesome.
Thank you, bro. Like, and we had over 1,000 paid
Wow.
clients over those like 3-4 years. So when we launched the token, we went back to those users. We let them know. I let them know what I was doing with my developers, and they just were excited. They're like, "Oh, we're on board." So like, they wanted to buy the tokens pre-sale,
Yeah.
basically. And so that's pretty much how we launched it.
So you more or less gave away 1 billion token to 12,000
We
customers
started giving
on the
away the tokens.
SMSS platform. At the time, how much was each token worth? I
It was
mean,
probably less than it was probably less than like it wasn't even a penny. I
wasn't
mean,
it a,
you know how crypto is.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
like 0.000. It's probably like 8 zeros.
So there are 12,000 people out there who have SMSS tokens back in 2017, and now how many people actually have these tokens?
So right now we have because we haven't done any major PR. It's just all organic, and it's all data that we already have accumulated, and that's where it's driving the value without us going to investors or banks and asking for money. You know, traditionally.
So how's the token exchanged then, or sold,
So
or bought?
basically, it's two ways because the token itself is a decentralized token. So it exists on layers. You know, it's like it's a layer two on top of Binance, which is, you know, like a Bitcoin level type cryptocurrency. So because of Binance, we're able to program and develop a token. and use Binance as like the credibility and the stability to establish SMSS's network. So when we launched the token, we started giving it, like, we gave away probably like 30% of the token. We just gave it away to the users because they had carried the business for so long, which drove all the revenue. Because, like, seriously, like, I've never had loans or investment money.
That's awesome.
You know what I mean? Like from retail investors or VCs and stuff like that. And, you know, we generated over 500 grand.
Wow.
With the social app. Yeah. So it's like some of that spillover has kind of led into the token with the user base.
So you were generating $500,000 in revenue with the SMSS platform.
Yeah. Total revenue.
Total revenue. That's awesome.
Thank you.
And some of that revenue was used to buy the SMSS token?
Well, to develop it.
To develop it.
I had to develop it because I'm not a coder. I don't program.
I understand.
You know?
So now essentially you're an entrepreneur in social media, and you have a social media platform that is tokenized or gamified using these tokens.
Yeah, with my own network.
With your own network. And so the more people use your platform or SMSS, the more tokens are minted. Is that it?
Well, the more people that use the platform is going to drive the value of the tokens, right? Because the value has to come from somewhere. So it was set up for the more users who join the network and do transactions through the interactions, or you could just do the transactions. That's going to increase the value of SMSS token over time.
Awesome.
Because right? I'm in this for the long haul. This isn't a get rich quick or.
And so now you had 12,000 users. How many users do you have now, and how many people trade SMSS?
So we on the social app we had 12,000 users, and out of those 12,000 users, about 900 have adopted the token so far.
Cool.
And that's generated about 13,000 transactions.
Awesome.
Since we launched the token.
And the value's gone up?
The value has gone up. Right now, the market cap for SMSS is about $100,000.
And what was it when you first started? Zero?
When we first started, the market cap was it was a zero.
Oh,
well, the token actually launched wrong. Because I didn't really know what I was doing in the beginning.
Yeah.
So the actual
that's being an entrepreneur.
Right. So we didn't have any liquidity because I didn't even know what liquidity was.
Yeah.
So like anybody can create a token nowadays, but it's a matter of really building an ecosystem. So I'm all about transparency, and I'll tell people to this day, like if you look at our chart, it started actually really high, but it dropped the very first day because there was no liquidity. So I'm like, what the hell is going on? We had no liquidity. So I had to spend a year just learning liquidity. I'm like, oh, we need liquidity so people can actually trade the token. Yeah. So they can buy and sell with no problems. A lot of these projects, you will have $1 million in the token, but you don't have $1 million in real life because you can't cash out.
So what do you think is your biggest challenge trying to grow this business? So essentially you have this social media platform, you have a that works on a blockchain, and you've got these tokens that now are worth $100,000 total.
Yeah.
So what do you think is the challenge? What's the next step for SMSS and these tokens?
It's a great question. I mean, that's why I'm here, to educate people and just come from a place of, for me, I don't really get anything personally out of this besides helping people adopt the technology overall. Because the more people that know about Bitcoin, chances are they'll know more about Binance. Chances are they'll convert their Binance or Bitcoin into SMSS because it's on a decentralized system. So, for me, that's really the main thing is education and helping people get more empowered to say, hey, I'll buy $50 worth of Bitcoin or $50 worth of Ethereum, because that leads them down to tokens like SMSS, which is kind of like newer altcoins, riskier coins, but we have utility, obviously. So over time, it should grow.
Awesome. So you're trying to educate people about the blockchain and cryptocurrency and try to help them build their own wealth?
Yeah, try to help them build their own networks through social media, but then also interact more with the blockchain because it's more seamless, and then it provides an incentive for something that they're already doing, something we already do. We're already on social media.
Right.
We spend at least 2 to 3 hours, 4 hours, some even more a day.
Damn, that's a lot. Yeah.
And so why not earn or be incentivized for something you want to do already, which is like, comment, share, post
Yeah.
content, interactions.
So you've been here in Las Vegas since 2015. You launched your business 2017. Your SMSS platform and your crypto tokens are doing well. You have a lot to be grateful for, I can see.
Thank
So
you.
what are you doing to give back to the community?
To give back to the community right now, we're focusing on education. It's all
Mm,
about education, because I wouldn't be able to have this conversation with you if it wasn't about education.
mm,
And just and also too, connecting social media, like we talked about, like before on yesterday, I think we talked. There's a little bit of health and wellness connected to it,
mm,
because for me to have this type of energy, that goes to just like the health side.
yeah.
Me taking care of myself, working out, going to the gym, supplements as I age.
Yep.
I'm 35 now. When I
Yep.
started, I was 20 or 21. So it's like health over time has helped me stay consistent. So I want to give back to the community by educating them on that as well, like how your health is connected to your social media, how it's going to be connected to what you do on the blockchain, because it drives your brain, it fuels your brain.
Awesome. Now, with all this experience you've gained over the last few years, what one piece of advice would you give to budding entrepreneurs here in Las Vegas? And there's a lot of movement here to Las Vegas, right? There's a lot of migration, especially from California
Yeah,
to Las Vegas. A lot of new entrepreneurs are moving here.
for
What
sure.
advice would you give them?
I would say definitely use case, like focus on the use case of your product or service, and like build your community, build your own little community on social media of, it doesn't have to be 1,000 or 1,000,000 people, because that was always a challenge, is people like, oh, well, why doesn't he have 1,000,000 followers if he's this and he's that, or why isn't he already a millionaire, or this or that? It's like,
Yeah.
try to avoid all that and just like really focus on impact, and then like building your own community of people who are going to support you and lift you up, and then eventually the business will grow. I feel like.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, Trenton, this has been a pleasure speaking to you today. Thank you
Thank you,
so much
man.
for joining me on the podcast.
It's been great.
I do hope your business continues to grow, and I'd love to continue to work with you, and maybe we can work with each other to help grow your business to greater success.
For sure. No, I want to thank you, Jason, for having me. I really appreciate Osverse, and I'm grateful for our relationship. Just when we met last year at Tech Alley.
It was
And
coincidental. I heard you talk about small business, and I said I need to speak to this guy.
yeah, you met me. That was actually my first like public speak at the Tech Alley demo. So to see us now where we're at, man, I'm really grateful and humbled, and anything I can do with Osverse, always.
Awesome, man. Good luck.
Thank you,
Good
brother.
luck, man.
Appreciate
Thank you. Thank you. All right.
it. Hey, that was great.
There you go. Awesome, man. That was awesome,
Hey,
man.
man, you asked great. I feel like I was on CNN, man.
Yeah,
You look like.
that was good, man. That was good for the first time.
Hey, bro.
That
Thank
was
you.
awesome.
I feel comfortable with your question.
That was good. Well, okay. Let's see. What do we do?
I love that, man.
Post in your
Let me
life.
get some water. My mouth was dry. No, man, you asked me some brilliant questions that forced me to give real answers.
Oh, that's good. That was the whole point of it.
You know what I mean?
I know. That's awesome. Okay, now what we need to do is we just need to.
If only my talk could be like that. Like,
What do you
know
mean?
I mean?
Let me just move this out of the way. Perfect timing. Okay, let me just take this up. Let me just say hello to Sir Rod. How are you, man? Nice seeing you again.
Yeah, I figure I finished my activities.
Hey, man, thank you for the production
Have
crew,
this event.
man.
I'll
Yeah,
come
no, it
here
was
a
great.
little early.
Yeah, no, thank you for coming.
I'll just go help you out.
Oh, enjoy yourself.
Yeah, no, that was.
Yeah, let me just grab this
How you
off
doing?
you.
Trenton.
I grab that off you. There you go. What was that?
The Facebook Live, I was checking it, didn't work. The video worked, but there's no sound. It's all background noise. So just delete it and maybe upload the video later.
Oh, why didn't it work?
Did you need to plug this in for some reason? I noticed this here. Did you need to plug this one in? Does this?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't plug it in because I didn't want it to break that way.
I see. So the video worked, but there was no sound.
The sound was background noise, it's too far. But then I saw this, but I thought if I go plug it in now, and it disconnects that, and you have zero record.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh no, and I thought, oh no, but I was going to come over here and hit stop, but then you probably vibrating thing, so I just left it.
Well, that's good to know for next time.
Yeah.
Actually, for the next one, it's going to be live class. So, yeah.
I need to practice my speech. You're not live streaming that.
I'm seeing everything.
Wow. Okay, so as if I'm making it up as I go along, I feel less pressure. It's like you shook my shoulders. Oh no, I will be. Don't worry.
So the TV is going to be there, right? So what we are going to do is we are going to put one. Why don't we put one line here?
Oh, so we have good lights.
Yeah. Why don't we? Because that's one of the problems with this room.
It's too dark.
It's dark. So we're going to put.
Watch it. Yeah. You're gonna stop your laptop.
I think it like build kind of puts it towards the wall, like the wall. So what you can do, I think you would fire one of this, couple like this with it, yes, if it brightens this area. What we can do. So later. Oh, you want to move the TV? Yeah. I was thinking putting the TV there, putting this here, right? Because the room's kind of facing this way.
It is. So
I'm gonna get this chair.
okay, this is staying as well. Okay. Sorry, I'm thinking. This is why I came early, but we don't have much time.
So why don't we bring the TV to this corner here? Yeah. Right? Because we've got this. It's kind of facing this. It's just. Okay, so there's lights in the back. And here. So we need to get rid of this cable. Put that in there. Perfect, yeah. Now, let me make sure this TV works. Oh, it's not running.
So is that bright enough? Because I don't think it should be pointed at the roof.
Oh, yeah. What do you think?
I think it'll bounce. If we put these down, I think the white light should bounce off.
So, what do you want to do? You want to put it down?
It's a nice view, but it's not a dark.
Okay, we can do that. How do you turn on this? Okay, how do you turn on this TV? know to turn on the TV? You turned it off? Yeah. Oh, there it is. What do we do without Bobby? This.
So Trenton's doing the yeah, okay. He's going to stand here. So he's got the yeah, that's good. TV's here, stands here, laptop's here.
This we can put here.
Has he got a USB or any presentation?
I've got it loaded up.
Okay.
So we might just
More like
yeah. So we might need. Okay. Just check the. Where do we want the light? Yeah, point. So shouldn't this pick up? What's that? Let me check this laptop now. What year this to work? Are we gonna? Excuse me. How do we get this to work? Do you know how we get the laptop to?
It should be HDMI. As long as you're plugged in, it should come up.
Yeah, depends on where we put it. Jason.
Yes. I was just gonna mention a suggestion. It's when it came into there. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Right. Right there.
showing you. That one's going to bounce off. That light's going to bounce off the window. So what are you going to do? I'm going to say this. That light bounces off. This one bounces.
Well,
Yeah, I don't think this one bothers anyone. If you start over here, that light's not really.
Oh yeah. Maybe we need to push this back.
is there a way to put
Yes.
Push this back.
Well, the tables are here, so I guess I could do it from right
Yeah,
here.
that's good.
Yeah, I can do it from right here.
That one is, and as you, if you look into the window, that one over there is going to bounce.
Yeah, this is good.
You don't have sound. Do you? You don't know. You don't need sound.
Okay. No, no.
That's wherever. No, you will distract. It's wherever you sit. It's where this direction. However, we can.
I think let's make sure that the speakers get the facts. That's the whole idea.
That one's okay. That's
It's going to be different than the car.
Yeah, it's gonna be the problem earlier on was because one of the mics was not connected properly, so we're gonna do this again, and we're gonna put it. Where's that little cable? Let's just use this. Okay, put it here.
yeah, I'll probably end up reading.
Yeah.
It's not too much to memorize right now, but this has got both lights on.
Yeah, we'll start the live again.
So this is flashing. Do they need to reconnect?
They should already be reconnected.
Those are connected. These flash.
Just see that. Oops. Just see what happens if we do that. Ooh, slowly. There we go. Yeah, that's a problem with this room. The lights are not great.
Is it adjustable? No.
Ah, Kirsten's here. Hello, Kirsten. How are you? Thank you so much for coming. Nice seeing you again.
I know. 2 whole months.
2 whole months.
I know.
God.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too.
How are you?
Kirsten. I still meet Sir Rod.
I know. Should I have you? What's your first name? Rod. Kirsten. Nice to meet you.
What's
And-
wider? What's wider? What's wider?
Yeah. I know, right? Okay, Kirsten. Lovely to meet you.
So how do we check if this is working now?
It's flashing.
It's flashing.
This one isn't flashing.
That one isn't
So this
flashing.
one's definitely working, which is good.
Or what we could do is record from here and use that as the live stream, seeing as that one's working. But then the recording may not work.
I think you should.
So the event order is going to be Bobby's going to open. I'm going to talk for a little bit, and then what I'm going to do is we're going to move to dinner or tidbits, appetizers, and then we're going to move to Trenton, then you, then we're going to move to the panel discussion, and that's it.
Okay. So Trenton lead panel.
Trenton, you panel, yeah.
Yeah. So okay. Thank you.
I think you should just do it on this one.
Do what?
Have it live on here.
Yeah.
Then download the live recording.
You know, I'm
Okay.
Nebraska.
Because that way's working.
Very
That is working.
Because that way you have a recording, but
Yeah.
this way at least.
Correct. So now let's have a look at this.
Having said that,